All right. Well, welcome to another segment of Living the Dominionaire Lifestyle. My name is Steve Sergum, the Dominionaire. It's always a pleasure to just share what's on my heart, what God is doing, and just some of the amazing things that's happening with my DH life and the Dominionaire movement. It often we look around us in this world and, we turn on the news and we listen to, family, and it's always seemed like the doom and gloom talk of what's going on in this world today, but we lose focus. We lose focus on not only our dreams, but we just lose focus on life. We lose focus on God's promises for our lives, and unfortunately, that takes its toll on each individual. So let me do something real quick. I'm just going to go real quick to Facebook. I want to make sure we are streaming live because I do have it streaming, and I just want to make sure I can see it. And there it is. We are streaming. Okay, good, awesome. So we're there. Awesome, beautiful. So, so for me, uh, in reflecting this week, especially this week, because we're in a relaunch mode of my DH life, and the whole concept, what is my DH life and who are we? What is Dominion Air Lifestyle? What is all this all about? And, it really starts with creating a culture, creating a global community where everyone's welcome. I don't care, who you are, your age, your race, your background, your religion. We are a community of love. We're a community where we're saying, hey, bring your baggage. We understand what's going on right now is literally beating a lot of people up. We know I want to say beating a lot of people up. I'm talking about mentally. I'm talking about, looking at every area. I mean, people are losing their jobs. People can't go back to work. It's just a financial crisis taking place around the world. It seems like the wealthy that understands that language and understands the quote unquote trick of the trades are the ones who are safeguarding their wealth. And the ones who don't know are the ones who are losing out, right? Because it's about knowledge. The Word of God tells us, that knowledge gives us power, but it's not just knowledge, but it's applied knowledge is true power. And I'm very excited about our guest today. Rickey Johnson, this individual, and he'll share a little bit about his background, but, he really focuses on family and legacies and, secrets actually in planning legacies. And why do you need a legacy planner? He's going to talk a little bit about that. Why do we need these type of roadmaps? Why do we even need to think about it, right? Because folks, when we look at what's going on around us, okay, and we look at the folks that say do get their hand on some money. What do they spend it on, right? What do you spend your money on? Are you spending it on liabilities or are you spending it on assets? You see, is it a want or is it a need? These are the things sometimes we don't stop to think about. But it's very important that we think about it. So Rickey really focuses on helping individual think about, like the benefits of a successive plan, for example. What is that all about? These are languages we don't hear about. And he has a book called The Bloodline. And, we understand the bloodline, but do we really understand, the bloodline from the perspective of one's family's legacy? See, we don't think these are the things we don't think about. So Rickey Johnson, what he does is he helps you think about where you're at. He helps you think about your current financial situation, because I often say we are where we are today because of the decisions we made yesterday. Okay. And folks, let me tell you, 2022 is literally around the corner, and we've got to start preparing. We've got to start looking at our finances, and we got to start literally preparing it, because everything we do, every decision we make financially between now and the end of the year will have a direct impact on our next year. So if you want to walk into a breakthrough, you want to walk into victory for 2022, this is the time to start preparing. Now, don't wait till the year begins and make all these resolutions. I'm going to make these changes. If you haven't done it this year, forget it. You're not going to do it next year. If you haven't done it the year before, you're not going to do it, because you've got to set goals, right? So Ricky's going to share some of, stuff you don't even hear about. He talks about, and we're going to talk about this, about owning nothing but controlling everything. When he said it, I had to think about that for a minute. Wow, what a concept. Well, anyways, I said so much about Rickey, I'd like to introduce Rickey Johnson to you guys. This guy is just amazing. He's a pastor, he's a family man, and he really has a passion for people. And that's what you're going to hear from him. He's going to speak from the heart. Rickey Johnson, welcome, welcome, welcome. It's always a great joy, to share these lives with you. Rickey Johnson, as you can see on the screen, we say live the Dominionaire lifestyle, training on mindset, financial health and wellness, legal, crypto, and blockchain. Well, the financial segment of the Millionaire Lifestyle, Mr. Rickey Johnson is one who's actually sharing his wealth of knowledge with our members at DH Life. So, Rickey, welcome to the segment.
Well, hey, thank you, Steve. Again, I'm just trying to wonder if you're talking about me or someone else coming by. Man, look, I am so been excited since this morning, knowing I was coming on with you. I feel so humbled to be up with such a very pristine person as yourself. Amen. Person at such a level,
Amen.
but I'm grateful. We've known each other from Florida. We both grew up in St. Petersburg. And still talk, although we live in two different states. Haven't even seen each other since then, but we still talk. We just older, gray hair, maybe sometimes a little less hair. But I'm excited to share some concepts and some points and to be able to invest in families because, as you said, that is a passion. People chase the cheese for the money, the next millionaire. I'll forget all that stuff. Man, look, you got to find some sense of control and order, some peace, and some how do we make it work? And be happy where we are, and then build from there. I'll obviously keep building. So thank you for having me this morning, Steve.
Absolutely, Rickey. Rickey, what's going on right now, with, the pandemic and, businesses closes. When a business closes, obviously employees lose their work and employees lose their work. They can't pay their bills. All this stimulus money eventually is going to end and it's only going to last for so long. It's temporary. What should people be thinking about, and looking at 2022 is coming up, if they haven't thought about certain areas, especially to deal with the pandemic and I will say the loss of finances and not able to pay their bills. But let's say they did have a little bit of money and they could do something with it, invest it or save it, or should they be saving it? Should they be investing it? What advice do you have for individuals right now that maybe just don't know what to do when it comes to their finances?
Number one is change the lens that you're looking out of. If you're looking for depression, you're going to find depression. If you're going to jump off a bridge, you're going to find a bridge to jump off of. However, if you can look off the lens of opportunity, as one person said, this is a perfect time for people that never thought about starting a business. It's a perfect time to start your own business. Before the Industrial Revolution, where what everybody, 70, 80% of those people had their own business. When we came to the city, it came to the Industrial Revolution, what happened? We started depending on other people. As you said, God is my source. And I think I look for opportunity. I look for creativity. I look for no complaints. That's my coach taught me. I'm a coach and I got a coach. And he told me every day you get up and you show some gratitude. What are you thankful for? And then on top of that, my commitment every day when I get up, Steve, is to do 111% better than I did yesterday. And that's what
great.
I have to push myself. And so finances isn't the first step. The first step is dealing with this. You have to invest in you. I read 15 minutes every single day. But at the end of the week, I've read a lot of books. It's a minimum of 15. But sometimes I read a book a month or 2 books a month. I constantly read. If you had a book, I'd buy it just so I invest. I got a new one right over here. I invest in me because I'm my greatest asset, not a product. You can come with products galore. Sure, you need to perfect your gift, your skill set, whatever you want to call it. But listen, this is a time for great opportunity. Yes. Because I've been given the spirit of fear, so I can't interpret it, and that's not being haughty or whatever, pontificating. What that means is I haven't been given that gift, as they call it, the gift of fear. I don't receive that. I'm looking for any opportunity that I can but it starts with improving me. And once I get knowledge, Steve, then I can just apply what I've learned. As you talk about own nothing, control everything, everybody look at me like I'm crazy. I said that one night to an attorney. I won't say her name. She's well known. You know her. I just won't say her name. Everybody know her. And we was at a gathering, and I mentioned that to her. She said, "What did you say, Bishop Johnson?" I said, "Yeah, you should own nothing, control everything." She said, "That don't make any sense. I got my law degree." I said, "Listen." And then when I told her, she said, "Oh, that's what you meant." I said, "Yes, yeah." She said, "Oh, yeah, I agree with that principle." And there's a way that, as much as you can, keep things out of your name and use entities, various entities, and working with your team, your legal team. And someone said, "Well, I don't have the money for all that." See, I tell you this, I created a legal team without spending a dime. All
Oh,
I did,
really?
all I did was go in there and ask for free consultation.
Mm.
You get nothing if you don't ask for something. And when I went in there, I started talking, interviewing people. So instead of them interviewing me, you may remember I said that before. Instead of it being interviewed, I'm doing the interview. They didn't know didn't have nothing at that time. They don't have to know. I was going to a free consultation. And then after that, of course, we hired some of their services. But in the beginning, no, I didn't have it.
That,
I
that that makes total sense. So just ask for the advice because that's why they give you a 30-minute or whatever free consultation. So you go prepared with the right questions and get the answers to them.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I like that.
Yes,
Very
sir.
smart. Very smart. Ricky, one thing that really caught my attention, and of course, through the membership of My DH Life, you're going to be offering some courses for our members. And now the courses that you're offering has to do with what?
It's what we call level one training, and the program is
Mhm.
called Lessons About Money My Family Never Taught Me. And it's 3 levels to that, but we're offering it for your students. They just become a member of your team, and they get to do it for free. All they got to do is put the code in and get in for free, and then in a matter of seconds.
And you have access to that information, guys.
Full
When you
access.
guys Yes, when you guys see what Ricky has to offer is unbelievable. Now, one of the things though, Ricky, and you have a book called The Bloodline, and in this Bloodline you talk book, I know you talk about several things, but I know on the website you also touch, and you almost have like a diagram in there. And you say, why is it important to keep everything flowing in the family, and you focus on the family, So you said the last thing you want is for your heirs that's married to end up in divorce court, or 50% of family assets being taken by divorce, or they didn't plan correctly and the government takes it, and you cover a lot of different areas. Why is it important to understand the family legacy? Why is that important to people?
Because as much as I was as a child, I was taught a lot by my parents, but my parents only could teach me so much concerning this area of finances. Now, I've always lived in a home, but no one ever sat me down at the dinner table and say, "Rick, what about this? What about that? You need to do this, do that." I knew nothing about any of that stuff. Didn't know about buying a home. Didn't know nothing about writing a check or we didn't use debit cards back then, as you may remember. I knew zero about money, except that I knew what I wanted. I wanted a bicycle. I started lawn service, and I went to my dad and said, "Dad, can I borrow $100? I need to do such and such." He said, "Sure," and he introduced me to what's called interest. I'm like, "What is that?" "Well, you're using my money to go buy your equipment and your whatever you want, my bicycle." So I had to pay him back. But at 14, I was making somewhere about maybe $40, $60 a week when I worked. I mean, that was a lot of money back then. 10 cents back
Right,
then was a lot of money. It's like
right,
being with Goober.
right.
But
That's it.
from there, because my parents, who were so loving, so kind, but they didn't know, I failed a lot in the area of financial intelligence. Ignorance is a nice word for me. I was below that, you know. I was in the realm of stupid. He said, "Don't be so hard." I'm just being real with me. I lost everything. But here's what I learned. I said I never wanted to experience that again, and I said, and since no one ever taught me, I was reading some book and I came across a word called a family constitution. I said, "What is that?" And I searched online, no examples whatsoever. Go ahead.
Ricky, you just said something, and I think it would be great to really share with people because you share your testimony, going from where you were homeless to where you are today. And like you said, it's stuff you just didn't know. And because you didn't know, you just didn't know, right? And could you just share with the folks a little bit about, your testimony and, just, I've heard it before, and I know you've talked about it on your website. If you don't mind sharing, so they'll kind of get a little background of
It never
why
changed.
does it, why this is so important to you, and why you're so passionate about what you're doing.
Right. I moved from Florida to help a loved one, uh, April 21st, 1982. And when I came out here, she lived in a very tough neighborhood, beautiful home, but a very tough neighborhood to help my niece and nephew. And 6 months after that, something happened, so I had to move out, and I moved out. And when I was out, I was just enjoying life, pursuing the music industry. Thought I'd get into acting, maybe do some producing. I was all just wanted to be in that industry, but I missed a major point, and that is no one taught me about money. I didn't know nothing about savings, and so when I lost my job, couldn't get another job. I lost everything. I ended up 45 miles away, stayed with my cousin for a minute, ended up sleeping in the backseat of a car. Most of my time was sleeping in his office, but I slept in the backseat of a car. Some days he put me in the office, say, look, go stay in the hotel. And I lost everything. And it was in the restroom, backed out just listening to this church. And I told myself, I'm never, ever going to give anyone power again over my life. Never. And I'm going to learn. And I still didn't know where to go. We didn't have the internet. And when you don't have everything, Steve, and you spend Christmas at Taco Bell by yourself,
Mm-hmm.
you know you're low. You're the only one sitting in there, and everybody looking at you. Why are you here on Christmas? And I sat in there for hours because I had nowhere to go. And when I read one book, my friend turned me on to this one book, and that opened my understanding to financial education. And we went to another book, and the rest is history. And I used the same principles for the church. Uh, the church now is debt free. We use the same principles, and we're remodeling, but the same principles I use at home, I'm using at the church. And now what I'm doing, I package it in with a family constitution. I package it. Here it is right here. I package this in my family constitution, teaching financial education and these principles that we're talking about today, especially the one own nothing, control everything, which I didn't create that. It was created way before I was even born, but I learned how to use it through trial and error. Because no one again never set me down and taught this. Nobody. I read but then I learned. Never. I read, then I apply. Read, then apply. And that's how you build up a system that works for you. And the key is to get your own system. I mean, get the basic principles and create your family system that work for you. I hope that answers your question. So
No,
that's
it sure did. It really did.
passion.
Yeah, you really did, Ricky, because you see, I'm quite sure there's so many people right now that are watching or will be watching the rebroadcast that have been where you were, that have been where I have been, because you're right. What you don't know, and you get some money, you get excited, you want to go buy things, and just spend it and have a good time. And before you know it, the money's gone. And then what do? You're back to square one. Like, man, I got to go borrow money from family. I got to go do this. So you're absolutely right. And think about how many people out there are in this predicament right now. And this is where I really love what you do and your heart to really help people and empower them, because it's about empowerment. And that's what the millionaire lifestyle is about, is living in dominion over so many aspects of life. And you're right. That's why mindset training is one of the aspects, because we know it starts right there. It's the renewing of the mind. But it's I will say too, is the discipline, right, of the mind, because you got to have certain disciplines too, and you've got to teach yourself. You've got to retrain yourself. You got to retrain your thinking processes about money, especially if you're not used to it. Because if you've already created habits, you got to now go and break those habits and create new habits. And what are those new habits may be? Well, instead of when you get money running off and buying things or having a good time, you make some shifts, save some money, invest in gold, silver, or maybe crypto, or some sort of investment. Now you talked a little bit about that, in several of your teaching, which a lot of the members are going to get to. One of the things you talk about is a successive plan. Could
Yeah.
you talk just a little bit about a successive plan and what that means?
Well, take track and field. Track and field, you do the 4x4, I think it's called, right? And you go so many, maybe 200 yards or so, and then you pass a baton. It's that simple. Bible says in the book of Proverbs 13, and it was 13:33, I think it is, or maybe off. I think it's the wise man leaves in 23, I think it is, leaves an inheritance to his children's children. And the key is, I've got to become financially healthy, and spiritually healthy, and physically healthy, and mentally healthy, and so forth, so I can pass a baton. That means instructions to the next generation. I can't make them do that, but somebody can take it and run with it. And that's been one of the complaints. A lot of people say people don't teach their kids about money. Some of them don't want to hear it. Some of them don't ever want to talk about money, but they love shopping. You know,
Sure.
And so it's up to us what we want to do, but it's about passing the baton. You know, Jesus, when he passed away, he had a succession plan. What do he trained people before he left? My goal is, it's crazy goal. If you don't have a goal, you never achieve it. My goal is a written goal, is to train 1 million people. And then each one of them training their family members. So my prediction is for 100 years, if the Lord shows mercy, it's 100 years that their information in their family, like your family, they could pass information from one generation to the next.
Yes.
I close with that thought is, if you take, it's a great book, but if you take in this book, he said the difference between the Rockefeller and the Vanderbilts. In the book, he said when Vanderbilt died, I can't remember, but it wasn't a generation or two. It wasn't that long. All the wealth was gone. But in this book, I'm trying to remember the name of it. And he said, but the Rockefellers had a plan, a written plan. And that's what's called a family constitution, because it pertained to you having a business. But I'm saying it's how you pass the baton. I want to know that I left something in written format, teaching financial education, marital status, successive planning, as you said, because that's one of the topics we talk about. How do I leave it for the next generation? How do I leave my children from not being, well, let me back up. You don't leave kids money.
Oh, really?
You don't do that. No. Why would you give somebody money that they ain't trained to handle that much?
Good point.
You know why, Steve? Because my wife and I went to a retirement program, and I'm not lying to you. It was a very, very plush place, and I went there just for the food. She wanted to learn, but I said, look, it's a free meal. I'm getting it. Okay. Well, when I got there, he said that typically within 18 months, inheritance are wasted. They're gone. Within 18 months of receiving. And you're saying like we work 20, 30 years, 35 years, whatever years, and it's gone within 18 months.
Wow.
You know what that means? That means that we're not preparing the next generation. And instead of giving them money, I start sharing in these programs that you're talking about, how to do something with it where you can leave it to give them an opportunity. There are tools. There are tools in this training that your member was here. There's one particular tool they can use. Their child can, the moment a child is born, you can buy this particular tool, and you can use this tool, Steve, for when they get to a certain age. You can use it to go to college or buy their first home or to start their first business endeavor. Instead of coming out of your principal pocket or your mother load, you learn these principles that help you, like, oh, I don't have to touch this. I got that. So when my grandkid, my son, he's married now, when he have his first child, I prayed for him this morning when he have his first child. Hey, I want to go and set this tool up for my grandchild, but I got to pay for it until he's ready to go to college, he or she ready to go to college.
But it sets them up, right, for specifics. That way they don't get the money and just squander it, right?
Oh yeah, they don't.
So it's like the prodigal son, right? So he got his inheritance, and he wasted it. He absolutely did.
But you know the problem with that story? First of all, it's never even about the prodigal son. It's about the father. The two sons was complaining. The problem with what the son did, which was so bad, When
Hmm.
do you receive an inheritance, Steve? When someone
Hmm.
dies.
Correct.
So, from a Jewish perspective, as I say, when I read the Bible, when I went to school, they taught me to put it back into the Hebrew and then bring it out in
Hmm.
English, which gives a
Hmm.
fuller meaning. And when you read it, the son was really saying to the father, Dad, I wish you were dead. Now give me my inheritance.
Mm.
That's why it was so hurting, so painful what he said.
Hmm.
He wished his father.
Wow.
That's like wishing your parent dead. I just want the inheritance. What's mine? Wait a minute. There's no law that I have to leave you money. What
Hmm.
did you get? Who told you I had to leave you money? Well, don't you love me? Loving you is leaving you principles. I'm going to leave you, and this is what I learned. I didn't create it. I learned it. I leave you opportunity, not
Hmm.
money. Not money.
Hmm.
I help you get busy, but I'm not funding your new cars and your stuff. That's not how it
Hmm.
works. So
Wow. Wow. So we've had it wrong all this time. We think we're doing a good deed by leaving money to our children or leaving money to our, grandchildren or great grand if that's where you're at. But what you're saying, no, no, that's the wrong way to do it. And you're absolutely right. You are absolutely right.
let's just say God, you know, I'm not like that. I've never done drugs. Okay. Now I come to your house. I'm a crack addict.
Mhm.
You go in there and say, okay, I'll be right back, Rick. I got to go clean up from the basketball game. Now you know I'm a
Mhm.
crack addict. Now you're going to leave $100 on the table.
Right, exactly.
You see what I'm saying?
Wow.
I'm not,
Right,
I don't have the fortitude or the energy or whatever. I don't have it not to take it and become a thief now and a
right,
liar and,
right.
go and do my drugs. And so for us to leave this money, our insurance and all this for our kids, untrained, undisciplined, they haven't even been tried or proven themselves. It doesn't make any sense. If you want to be a good, see, I like to be a good steward over 100 years. Well, after I'm gone. I think you're muted there, Steve.
Yeah. No, you're
Oh,
absolutely right. Hmm.
yeah, be a
You're
good
absolutely
steward
right.
after I'm gone. Here's some information. And this, again, in closing, it's principles. It's
But
principles.
yeah. Yeah, and you're absolutely right, Ricky. I'm thinking as you're speaking about, you're right, because we have a tendency to want to leave. But I think is more the preparation and education, because that's what you're saying is preparing, but also educating in the process so they understand why you're doing what you're doing
Yes.
and the type of inheritance that they're going to receive. It's not going to be money. They may get some, but more importantly, it's really securing their future. Because you're right, because if you teach them, they in turn are going to teach theirs, and in turn
Yes.
teach theirs. And that's the true legacy. See?
That,
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
that's
That's it.
Proverbs 13. And
Wow.
when I read that, I said, people say God made me the head and not the tail.
That's right.
So I'm that kid who raised my hand and say, what does the head look like? And no one
Hmm.
had an answer for me. I asked, well, what does the head look like? No one gave
Hmm.
an answer. So I had to go out and say, well, go find what the head looked like. How does the head behave himself? How does she think? So forth and
Right.
so on. And so my passion is that I never want my bloodline. And the book you were referring to is called Success Runs in the Bloodline.
Hmm.
And in there, we talk about own nothing, control everything. And then in one of the teachings that your students, your members, excuse me, will get uh, an access to of their choosing, if they so choose, I give away that book as an ebook for free.
Nice.
That and the book
Well,
called Formula. I give it away for free, depending on what level they're at.
wonderful. So that's great that our members will have access to all of that amazing training. Guys, we a lot of times we don't think about it, right? We really don't think about finances in the way we should be thinking about finances. And like Ricky said too, it's really start with the mindset, in everything that we do. There's many other aspects of living in Dominion. Today we're talking about finances in particular because Ricky's America's financial transformational coach. He goes around and he speaks, he teaches, goes to different churches, actually holds his own workshops across the country. And for us, we're blessed to have him, as part of DH Life, sharing the wealth of knowledge, to our members. and then some. Because our goal at the Millionaire or DH Life is simply to really empower people, okay, and help them. Like I said, all the way from mindset to the finances, the health and wellness, legal. You wouldn't think legal, but legal goes right along with the finances, because everything that Ricky's talking about, and you need to have it, whether it be notarized or legally be filed, or so that way it's a living, breathing document, right? That will stand, and a lot of things people don't think about, these type of things. And then we talk a little bit about the crypto and the blockchain. So I'm very excited, Ricky. We are very close, probably about a week, and we're going to relaunch My DH Life. I know a lot of people are excited. They're waiting. We've got members all over the world, and they're just waiting in anticipation. So, because the goal is living in dominion and living as a joint heir, right? And it's a lifestyle that we have to be living, and that I'm excited about. So, um, so any parting words, Ricky, in regards to what they can expect when it comes to the finances? Because people are going to be focusing on finances. You already know that's going to be like the number one thing.
Yeah.
They, not only because they're going to be able to earn through us through our affiliate program, and then now we want to say, okay, you're earning. Now here's some of the strategies that you will teach them now how to grow their money, save their money, and all the different things that you have for our members at My DH Life.
A dear friend of mine, I was asking him, I said, he said, well, what do you, who are you? What do you do? And I told him, but I said, I have no word for it. This is what I do. He said, yeah, but it doesn't make sense to everybody else. And that's how he came. He said, no, man, you're America's uh, financial transformation coach. And I said, that sounds too legal for me. He said, no. He said, you transformed me. I didn't think about these terms: own nothing, control everything. And when I said in front, and they'll learn a term called, and you can get it online, you can look at it. I remember I was at my CPA one time and we were leaving. And at the end, I told him, I said, listen, I have a question. How can I become more tax efficient? And the CPA stood up. He stood up, Steve, and said, who told you that? And you know what I told him? That's not what I asked you. I want to know how to be more tax efficient. Tax efficiency isn't tax avoidance. Tax avoidance for cheaters.
That's right.
It's for cheaters. We don't do that. We want to do things decent and in order. You just have to file your taxes. You got to do what's right. That's just about doing what's right. Everybody want to be the next millionaire. I say, why? You can't even control $20.
Right.
You
That,
know, can you save 20% of your income every month? Most people don't do that. So when we get into the lessons, here's one word I can say. They're going to come, Steve, from you, and they're going to get more than they pay for. And again, they're paying nothing to come to me because they're coming through you as your member. They just put the
right.
code in. Don't worry about the other ones. Just put the code in, just like the instruction says. Once you log into your account, put that code in, which I will not say out loud. Amen.
Right.
No, sir. No, sir. As a member, you put the code in, and you will go right in, and you'll start. You download your handout, you start working, and then that's where the fun begins, because now I'm going to feed you more than you ever paid for. You won't beat me giving. I put in the system to give you more than you paid for, which you ain't paying for nothing, because again, they're coming through your membership. And so I'm gonna still beat them giving on that, because you have to within 24 hours, for example, 24 to 48 hours, they're gonna be at the bank making a change.
Mm.
And that's one thing. And the bank can say, oh, okay, I can do that for you. And they can say, wait a minute, I didn't know it was that easy. Yeah, and it's free.
Wow.
You'll be at the banker within 20. Well, how fast you do it. I did mine when I learned about it. I went in within 24 hours. I set it up and I said, whoa, that's pretty easy. I'm gonna teach people that. That was easy. And see, a lot of things I'm sharing is what I experienced. I had to
Right.
experience it first. So instead of chasing the cheese, I say to your members, don't chase the cheese. Don't talk about you're gonna be the next millionaire. Who cares about that stuff? Listen, you need to make sure you have enough money set on the side in case of emergency. You need, because health issues, college, so forth and so on. You need to be a blessing to your next generation, and don't be so selfish about buying clothes for you. Okay, it's okay to buy nice stuff. How about save for that nice stuff so you can pay it off in 30 days when the bill comes, and then your credit shoot up, and then, and by the way, you know what credit really is, Steve?
What's that?
It's a loan from the bank. That's all it is.
Hmm.
On a little card, it's a loan from a bank. They loan
Hmm.
you. They loan you. Say your credit 5,000. They loan you $5,000 worth of credit. You just got to make those payments. Oh, but if you don't make those payments, they make the money on the fees and penalties. That's
Hmm.
called free money. So I share with your members about the whole concept of free money, succession planning, all of that. And they will tell you, man, he gave us more than we even paid for. Yes, I will.
Hmm.
It's
That's
built into
awesome.
the system to be a blessing.
That's right. Blessed to be a blessing. I love it.
Yes,
So
sir.
really what I just heard you say is almost really you could be your own bank and give yourself a loan, pay yourself interest really, right? Just a matter of saving and properly planning for that.
I didn't say that, but I'll say it now. My whole point when you get in there is about you becoming your own banker.
I love that.
Yeah.
So guys, as you can see, wow, Ricky, I can't wait. I can't wait for my members to get access to your training and really set them in the right path to success and get control of their finances. More importantly, though, really prepare for the future, and make all the right decisions when it comes to money, because a lot of us don't. I mean, I know I didn't. I like learn from experience, right? It's when it's all gone, then you're like, man, I wish I had saved. I wish I had done so much different, but we don't. But this is where we are, you and I, and all the other trainers, and it's all from experience. And now, from the heart, we want to help, we want to share, we want to empower, and that's what folks can expect from the Millionaire Lifestyle. So I'm very excited. I just want to thank you for taking time out of your
Thank
busy
you.
day to be with us. I know you've been busy this morning recording and doing some other things, and you've got your, team you're working with. So we're truly blessed to have you with us. So until next time, so we're looking about a week for the launch, and once that happens, our members will, be coming
Yes.
in, and you'll
Two
start
thumbs up.
seeing them coming through. That's it, man. I'm excited about that. So guys, thank you so much for being with us, for the ones who are watching live and the ones who will be watching the rebroadcast. Again, my name is Steve Sergum, as you can see on the screen here, and this is Mr. Rickey Johnson, America's financial transformational coach, and you truly do transform people's life when it comes to finances, because truly every dollar saved is a dollar gain, and this is what his job is, to help you truly be successful and achieve more with the same dollar that you would earn,
Yes, sir.
or however you get it, but you can achieve more with that dollar, and that's what his goal is. So thank you for being with us, and we'll see you on the next broadcast. Ricky, be blessed, and thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, bye for now.